looked like he was doing something on the other side trying to get out, and he was kind of disoriented. And I kept yelling, out this way, come on out this way, you know, and the flames were starting to get up higher.
Oh, it went through my head that, hey, I'm not going to get out of this one, but I can't quit trying. And then I heard him yelling from the backside, and I was just like, oh boy, there's a way out someplace here.
Everything they told her to do. She got put restraining orders, she called the police every time, and nothing.
In December of 1994, Sharon Schultz was shot to death by her estranged husband, who then committed suicide, leaving her 2 children motherless. This is just one of the many instances where domestic violence has led to death. The state of Wisconsin has passed a new law called Wisconsin Act 71 that will force domestic violence offenders under injunctions to surrender their firearms. Local officials hope the new law will better protect domestic violence victims.
Well, certainly we hope that it will add another added protection for them. Particularly women and children are in most danger when they make a choice to leave an abusive relationship. That's certainly what we saw in the case of Sharon Schultz.
The Sharon Schultz homicide was just one of the many domestic murders committed with a gun. In 1989, 21 of 39 domestic homicides in Wisconsin were committed with a gun. In the next 4 years, over 50% of such homicides were committed with a firearm. Local officials say even though the new law may help reduce domestic violence, they want people to still be aware.
We certainly want people to continue to be aware of their own safety needs and not look at this as a miracle protective screen to them. Certainly is one more element that we use to protect the victim. But it's not a cure-all.
The law will go into effect April 1st. Local officials say they hope the law is effective.
And I think what we're all going to need to do is watch real closely and see what happens, and then take a look a year from now and say, are there any changes that need to be made to the legislation to make it more effective?
Tamika Snowden, Channel 6 News.
Instrumental in putting this together. And the mayor and I can try to call on any of them. Will there be snow on April 27th on the ground, or can we?
Yes. We're all just average citizens who came down. In the past, there's been a big emphasis on cleaning up the public spaces, but we want to really put an emphasis on cleaning up the neighborhoods and the individual yards and make the whole city look beautiful.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
How important is this project?
This one here?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think it's important. People take a real pride.
Black and white, they are precious in His sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world.
Okay, let's...
We were able to gather on this home Sunday. That joy is stronger than sorrow.
Amen.
And that is our commitment to this corner and to this place.
And we thought that it was going to be really meaningful for the children.
And is concerned about the problems.
A House Senate Conference Committee met this morning to decide how to allocate about $500 million worth of spending. The legislative session didn't end last week as first thought. DFLers hope to adjourn by Tuesday or Wednesday. By 1 o'clock, the committee had decided on tentative House and Senate dollar allocations. Some Duluth businesses will be awarded money from the bonding bills. The Senate bill looks like this. The UMD Library would receive $1.4 million, while the Lake Superior Center is the big winner with $11 million. The Family Practice Clinic gets $1.4 million, and the Lake Superior Zoo $1 million. The House bill is quite different. The Lake Superior Center is the big loser, being cut out entirely, while the UMD Library wins the state funding lottery. The Family Practice Clinic is unaffected, but the zoo gets a third more money. The Lake Superior Zoo may get nearly $2 million. They say they will expand specific areas like this deer exhibit, which will improve the overall zoo and will bring in more people. The zoo's director says without the state money, the expansion at his facility won't be finished.
We also have been working with the city from the standpoint of what we don't pick up from the legislature, we may be able to get through a city bond.
The director says the zoo has received bits and pieces from previous bonding bills, but success on this bill will really help.
But we really want to get this project finished, and even if we got the money today, it would still take a good year, year and a half to get this work done. So we're really looking forward to trying to get the ball rolling.
Until the legislature decides, local agencies will be waiting patiently. In Duluth, Kim Steininger, Channel 6 News.
That group of however many people that come have a greater awareness that racism does exist in our community, and that there are certain steps that all of us can take to put racism out of our lives and out of our community's lives, and just realize that we are all brothers and sisters regardless of the color of our skin.
Willing to give a little?
We've always been willing to work. The mere fact that we're extending this debate to Mayor doing
All the debate that's been going back and forth. I mean, do you think it's childish? Do you think it needs to be done?
I think at this point the mayor needs to act like the mayor and understand that he has an opportunity to partake in history in terms of shaping the relationships between people of color and whites in this community.
Okay, anytime now.
Duluth really has a veneer. On the surface, it seems very friendly. Obviously, during the summer and spring, it's a very beautiful place to live. But that all breaks down, that veneer breaks down when we talk about how people of color are treated in this community.
It's more like having my business in the house. So yeah, this is all intro. Like I said, do a lot of our teaching. This is where we.
Say hi.
Kidder said, you probably won't believe this, but I am Margot Kidder, and I feel that some people are chasing me or after me, and I need, and I need to stay out of the way, something to that effect.
Milton Williams and Justin McDuff were shopping at Miller Mall last January 8th when Duluth police arrested them at gunpoint. The two apparently matched a description of armed robbers police were searching for.
Policeman came, pulled his gun on me and my friend and told us to get on the ground, searched us and handcuffed us. We kept asking why, and he wouldn't tell us why.
Williams and McDuff say it is a clear case of police misconduct and have consulted an attorney regarding the issue. Duluth police insist they did nothing wrong.
I believe that our officers would have handled this, this report of suspects, matching armed robber suspects, regardless of race.
But the NAACP in Duluth says there are problems that need to be addressed and complaints that need to be heard.
There is a problem. It has been there for quite a while. We believe that the city government should sit down and not get up from the table until those issues are adequately addressed.
The Duluth Police Department does not have a policy to deal with racial complaints, but there is a general complaint policy.
I think everybody's complaint should be just as important, no matter what color they are.
Complaints against Duluth police are investigated by the department's own officers. Only complaints of a criminal nature are sent to outside investigators. Communities of Color United is demanding its members be included in committees that oversee police. For now, the Doty administration is refusing to discuss those demands. In Duluth, Ann Carroll, Channel 6 News.
As bank alarms sounded around them, Duluth Police and Federal Bureau of Investigation officers responded to a bank robbery at the Duluth Teachers Credit Union. FBI officials say they don't have much to go on.
Best we can figure, sometime around 10 a.m. this morning, we had 3 males enter the Duluth Teachers Credit Union. One was armed. All 3 were dressed probably the same. The people inside didn't see much. There were a couple customers. They were in there a short period of time.
The FBI says the 3 alleged robbers were wearing dark hooded jackets and white or light colored masks with sunglasses. The Minnesota State Patrol sent up a plane to help search for an alleged getaway car. It is believed that after the robbery, the suspects ran down this alley and jumped a chain link fence. The FBI says they have more investigating ahead.
Well, we got some follow-up stuff to do. We're going to do the neighborhood. We're going to try to hit all the businesses around here. We're going to walk the route that they possibly took after the dog finished with it.
In Duluth, Tamika Snowden, Channel 6 News.
Instead of going to Disney World or wherever, a huge increase in gas prices will ultimately affect airfares as well. So those people might forsake that trip and stay a little closer to home. And Duluth is really the top tourist destination in Minnesota. So I think we'll do okay.
Wild plants and endangered species or threatened species, lousy farmer natural resource issue. Madison never moves, Everybody says the welfare system is broken. Only Wisconsin has attempted to fix it. And we have been able to reduce the welfare caseload by over 35%, which is more than all the other states combined. And when I started trying to change the welfare system back in 1987, been working on this now for 9 years, every time I try something new, those same lemon suckers wring their hands in despair and say it won't.
No sense leaving it here.
Roof instead of in separate buildings. And that history lives in the people's hearts and in their minds and in their worship. It doesn't live just only in a building. If it did, of course, then that'd be just sorrow. But it lives in the people that continue to worship.
As all other living forms. And with a perspective like that, and which one might be light, natural selection, it is a paradigm that guides all work, whether it be in medicine, whatever branch class. The lecture is finished, the lights come up, there's a thunderous applause, and all of a sudden it dawns on the guy in the professor's toes with his question answered. So a local professor stands up in the third row, ranting and
Well, I thought my life was going to be a lot happier toward the end.
Well, I couldn't get out of there quick enough.
Both of these senior citizens lived at a place called Green Acres in Hermantown. They thought it would be the perfect place to spend their golden years. But both Ann and Virgie say they were abused and neglected by poorly trained, uncaring members of the Green Acres staff.
To think how much I gave up to go up there to live as a happy home was very stressful.
I kept telling my kids, you got to get me out of here, you got to get me out of here.
Ann and Virgie got out with the help of friends who lived nearby. But they're concerned about the safety of dozens of other residents still living at Green Acres. Their concerns and other complaints of abuse and neglect were brought to I-Team 6 by current and past employees who say a lack of training is endangering residents.
We've reported
they haven't listened to us.
Right.
And it's gone beyond help and they've died.
Some of our sources are currently employed at Green Acres and have asked not to be identified for fear of retaliation. We interviewed more than 20 former and current caregivers and residents of Green Acres and were told horror stories of the way people are treated in this facility. The owners of Green Acres refused to talk with us or let us inside to take pictures. Some of the charges our sources made about Green Acres include leaving drugs out and unattended, in some cases drugs have disappeared, ordering untrained caregivers to give shots, ignoring residents' needs, and swearing at or around residents.
We were allowed to do the tube feeding. We were allowed to do the insulin shots. I wasn't taught by the RN to give the insulin shots. I was just taught by another girl.
Did you ever have a nurse train you in giving shots?
No.
Was that a concern of yours?
Yes, it was.
Why?
Yeah. Well, because what if somebody gave somebody too much insulin or didn't do it the right way? You know, I wasn't really sure.
There have been residents accidentally taking other residents' pills, but a lot of residents are left unattended, and a lot of falls have happened that way. The four-letter words are fast and furious if they get frustrated with a resident.
I-Team 6 has discovered Green Acres has been investigated before. 3 years ago, St. Louis County looked into complaints and found the facility had been negligent. The county issued a correction order, citing failure to give prescribed medications, failure to provide care, assistance, and supervision of residents, failure to report suspected neglect, and failure to report the death of a resident. Then in April of 1994, after another lengthy investigation, St. Louis County put Green Acres' license under probation for a year. The violations included neglect of residents, shortage of required caregivers for the number of residents, failure to follow doctors' orders for medications, and failure to report when that resident died. We were able to obtain hundreds of pages of documents concerning past investigations into Green Acres and have learned that once again the facility is under investigation by the county and the state concerning several new incidents. We'll take a look at those tomorrow. Barbara Riles, Channel 6 News.
On the TV tube, certainly it's going to resonate. But nonetheless, the fact is that the very people who are to a large extent responsible for his political success.
Congressman Oberstar in his release
Federal bureaucracy, and I think it's important for Senator Wellstone if he hopes to have any chance of living up to the idealistic standard that he has set for himself when he first was elected to office 5.5 years ago, to take a specific position and to make his views known to the people of northeastern Minnesota and indeed all Minnesotans.
Could be informed about and be able to make a decision as this is being sit on the sidelines. But nonetheless, the fact is the Republicans criticize Congressman Oberstar for producing this legislation, but I think that it was Rod Rams who was the one who
Wabasha and Mankato. I have no property whatsoever touching either one of them. And
they moved and seconded to recess the public hearing until 8 p.m. next.
I don't believe the street needs to be redone because it's in pretty good shape.
Till the end, will I still be allowed to ask that question?
No, you will not if it's recessed.
I doubt very much. But I've talked to most of the people on the block, and we would just like to have our street left alone. We don't understand if this is the end of the sewer line or what this upgrade on the sewer line is. I think
On Saturday, March 16th, the Duluth Police Department recovered several items stolen by local thieves and burglars. 4 guns were among the recovered items, but the police have been unable to find their owners. The gun owners either failed to report the burglaries or didn't know the serial numbers on the guns. It is possible that the weapons were stolen from area cabins and no one knows they're missing yet. The weapons include 2 .357 Magnum revolvers, 1 .410 shotgun, and 1 bolt-action .22 rifle. Call Crime Stoppers if you think your gun is on the list. We have detailed descriptions and serial numbers of each item. You can also tell us the location of any stolen property and receive a reward up to $1,000 in cash. Our numbers are 1-800-974-TIPS or 723-ENOUGH. That's 723-3683.
it's just more peaceful fishing and just beats the crowd. I'm sure this will be good and packed tomorrow.
A transformation of seasons is taking place. Soon, the hum of a motor will drown the sound of spring peepers. On this night before opener, tents and lanterns illuminate the campground where a ritual between friends and fishing is about to begin.
This is going to be peaceful here, that's for sure.
Small boats line the shore, anchors ready. Eager anglers build campfires in anticipation. Not much left to do, just count the minutes before midnight. The diehards are awake early to beat the crowd.
Well, catching fish is always more important than sleep. You can always sleep.
It's the kind of night that months of cold will make worth the wait. Old friends, separated by life's demands, and winter are reunited.
Walleye fishing's a team sport for us, and we expect to do good. We expect to catch some nice fish. Hopefully we'll get to release some nice ones and keep a few also.
Oh, we're like the team, so we'd be competitive against anybody else, but not each other.
Is that rowing working?
Yep.
They're partners during an annual outing, scouring the cold and dark waters. They share their experiences, but not their secrets.
You just got to have the skill inside you to be able to bring them in. That's what it's all about. You can use the same thing you want in my boat, you know, that I'm using, but probably won't do as good as I do.
Use a hook and a line.
I ain't going to tell him my secret.
Scott Schroeder spends the opener with his fishing partner and friend who comes from Colorado for Minnesota walleye.
We do everything this way. We start early and fish hard, you know.
Yeah.
Our plan is to catch 4 10-pound walleyes and win the contest we entered. That's our plan.
No matter where they are during the winter, it is here that they meet for a familiar experience, in familiar waters, in the earliest of hours, a sport that brings anglers of all ages together for yet another walleye challenge.
It's that feeling that you get when a fish grabs your line and starts wiggling on the end, you know, and you can feel the strength. There's nothing else like it on the world. So. That's part of the Minnesota walleye opener experience. You got to get up here and experience all the boats and all the people that are going to be here, you know.
On the St. Louis River, Molly McMillan, Channel 6 News.
I seldom fish alone. I'd rather be out with somebody rather than fish alone. I don't care to do that too much, but always nice to have some company out there.
Jerry's father, Jess, was the first person to take him fishing. He liked it so much, he decided to be a guide, just like his dad.
Well, when I got old enough, we started kind of guiding together with some of the other old-timers, Kenny Ackley and Tony Bralick, and it was a lot of fun. You know, a good experience and a lot of cookouts.
And it didn't take long for Jerry to learn. He was fishing with his dad when he caught a 42-inch muskie. It was almost as big as he was.
He towed us around in the river in that little boat for a while, and my mother had that pistol we were telling you about. She got him up near the boat, and she popped him in the head. And they were shooting everything, and shooting holes through the bottom of the boats, you know, and they'd get a muskie inside, and then they'd shoot him. As I remember right, they brought a wheelbarrow down to haul it away in.
It seems Jerry has taken after his father. It wasn't uncommon years ago for Jess to be seen with a wheelbarrow full of muskie. Photos like this have made him a legendary guide and a special father.
Well, I think it's kind of unique. I don't think as many people have had that, been able to, as fortunate as I've been, to have a father that's been a fisherman, a hunter, guide.
For years, they've earned a living taking total strangers out fishing.
There you go. I'll let her Just let her take out a little line there and let it sink all the way down. It's pretty deep here.
Be sure you get to the bottom, that's the main thing.
Helping other anglers catch some too.
Oh, how about that?
But through those years, the chances to fish as father and son have been few and far between. How often do you and Jerry get out fishing together?
Oh, hardly ever. We don't get out anymore. We haven't been out for a long time.
This has got to be kind of nice to be out fishing together.
Yeah, it is. You know, if you got a nice weather, you can catch something.
They're hoping they can get out together a lot more, starting with today.
Did you catch a 30-pounder, Jerry?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's just nice to be out with good fishermen.
In Hayward, Molly McMillan, Channel 6 News.
How you doing, Bill?
Good. How are you doing, Buck?
I heard you might go fishing.
It's pretty common to spot Milton Powell at the local bait store, in between the coffee pot and the cash register, laughing and trading fish stories.
Don Robertson, we had one one time, and he run down the river and never did catch him. Every time Doc got to the river, I said, down a little further, down a little further.
Thank you. Ready to go?
Yep, we're all
You
set.
know everybody in this town.
Yeah.
A retired boatloader from
Once he gets in
LTV
that current,
Mining,
he's
Milton
gone.
now looks for a somewhat quieter piece of the North Shore.
Right down here is where I usually start. Stand right down there.
The rush of the mighty Jewel during the Steelhead Run.
Oh, it must be moving at least 15 miles an hour.
Nestled between the pine and rock, Milton returns to North Shore rivers every spring for fish, peace, and solitude.
Well, I forget about everything when I'm here. I think mostly about fishing. I love the woods. I love the woods, the water. I love everything about this country. It's just nice, real nice.
More often, he comes alone. But it hasn't always been that way. For over 20 years, he's gone fishing with his friend, Don Roberts.
So the people with my little fishing partner, he's not, he can't get down here no more. He has cancer and he can't get around very good. Him and I do we did a lot of fishing. And he stood right here many times, fished off this rock and caught fish. Oh, they were beautiful days. They were nice days. Stream fishing and winter fishing. Brook trout fishing in dead waters. We just had a real good time with him.
Milton and Don still go fishing together, usually when the weather is warm and they're feeling up to it.
We fish until he gets tired or I get tired. Whoever gets tired first said, let's go, we move on.
As much as friendships are a part of the sport, when you spend a day fishing with Milton Powell, you'll see that no matter where his thoughts take him, he is never far away from the hook at the end of his line and the fish that's waiting to take it.
Sure wish I could hook one.
Near Grand Marais, Molly McMillan, Channel 6 News.
I seldom fish alone. I'd rather be out with somebody rather than fish alone. I don't care to do that too much, but it's always nice to have some company out there.
Jerry's father, Jess, was the first person to take him fishing. He liked it so much, he decided to be a guide, just like his dad.
Well, when I got old enough, we started kind of guiding together with some of the other old-timers, and Kenny Ackley and Tony Bralick, and it was a lot of fun. You know, a good experience and a lot of cookouts.
And it didn't take long for Jerry to learn. He was fishing with his dad when he caught a 42-inch muskie. It was almost as big as he was.
He towed us around in the river in that little boat for a while, and my mother had that pistol we were telling you about. We got him up near the boat, and she popped him in the head. And they were shooting everything, and shooting holes through the bottom of the boats, you know, and they'd get a muskie inside, and then they'd shoot him. As I remember right, they brought a wheelbarrow down to haul it away in.
It seems Jerry has taken after his father. It wasn't uncommon years ago for Jess to be seen with a wheelbarrow full of muskie. Photos like this have made him a legendary guide and a special father.
Well, I think it's kind of unique. I don't think as many people have had that, been able to, as fortunate as I've been, to have a father that's been a fisherman, a hunter, and guide.
For years, they've earned a living taking total strangers out fishing.
There you go. Now just let her take out a little line there and let it sink all the way down. It's pretty deep here.
Yeah, be sure you get to the bottom, that's the main thing.
Helping other anglers catch some too.
Oh, how about that?
But through those years, the chances to fish as father and son have been few and far between. How often do you and Jerry get out fishing together?
Oh, hardly ever. We don't get out anymore. We haven't been out for a long time.
This has got to be kind of nice to be out fishing together.
Yeah, it is. You know, if you got a nice weather, you can catch something.
They're hoping they can get out together a lot more, starting with today.
Did you catch a 30-pounder, Jerry?
Yeah.
I didn't know you did.
It's just nice to be out with good fishermen.
In Hayward, Molly McMillan, Channel 6 News.
We do have some pens on that. If you do have individuals that you know aren't here today, have them get in touch with our office so we can get them surveyed.
We have had good response. Normally, when you got a sudden closing like this, and you're trying to catch up with people after the fact, and some of these people have been on layoff since last fall, so the turnout's been really very good.
The schedule that's been put together is absolutely outstanding. It's better than last year, which I didn't think was possible to do. And as each year goes by, I expect it to even get better and better and better.
Just get out of town, get out of the rat race of Minneapolis. Yeah, I need it.
And just basically walking. My husband likes to be by water, so we're down looking at the water, and I'm learning a new hobby, taking pictures, so just taking pictures of anything.
We've been coming up here since we were little. It's just a kind of a tradition. We've been coming up here every Memorial Day since I can remember. So now we're bringing our kids up here.
Agreement. I think that can happen, and I think it should happen, and I'm essentially by this election. We have a lot of intelligence. People have a sense of fair play. That there's no way that they can talk to each other. That's what people say. But when you've got a skilled team and you've got people who are willing to sit down, it would be a nice thing for us as a state to finally get beyond this and have some agreement and some positive change.
Challenge uphill.
thinks I'm in better shape than I am. You hold it with your left hand, now it has to be right.
We're a facility that promotes the health and well-being of children and their relationships with their families. We felt it was important to take a stand for children and to do part of our programming around that.
It was the first rain the torch caravan had encountered since leaving the West Coast. My first view of the torch came in an emotional ceremony in Rochester. We were bussed to our relay points and given torches along with safety instructions.
And you're just going to exchange your flame like this. And then you'll have the flame.
My run was set for Zumbrota, Minnesota. A surprising coincidence that I had nothing to do with. You see, I grew up in that town. I moved away 20 years ago to come to Duluth to work here at Channel 6. I took my place on a residential street in a steady, soft rain and waited for the caravan to arrive.
This is heavy.
It's kind of heavy. You want to try it? Then it was my turn. Carrying the Olympic torch is like nothing I had ever done. It was heavier than I expected, and the flame was hotter than I expected. It's sort of like being in a 4th of July parade and walking down the aisle at your wedding all at once. People were cheering and waving flags, and everyone was looking at you. Then in a kilometer, it was over, and I was lighting the next torch. And then interviewing some high school classmates.
So this is the first time I've run in a week and a half. This is a plus that they came through town to see the torch carrying and passing it on. And even with the rain? Even with the rain. It's great. I'd be out here if it was snowing.
We were fortunate that Zumbrota got picked. We thought it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing and wouldn't miss it.
And then they interviewed me.
To be able to actually run down the street and hold this up, and you know, people are cheering, but they're cheering for the Olympics. They're not cheering for you. And to see that enthusiasm and excitement and all the American flags waving and the flashes going off, it's an honor and a privilege, and it's something I'll remember the rest of my life. Gotta get it now. Gotta get it first.
Won't get any sleep then. I'll be just thinking about it. Why wasn't I there?
These kids are learning how to trust each other 40 feet above the ground. They are court-ordered to be at Woodland Hills for various reasons. Some have run away from home and others have committed felonies. They stay at the center an average of 8 months or until they change their outlook on life. The ropes course is one step in teaching them the values they'll need when they leave.
In the past, it builds the group and it makes them work better together. And I mean, it helps them in treatment issues too, because then they have more care for each other and trust each other, so they can tell them things that are going on with them.
The girls move through an airborne obstacle course with the help of their peers. They put on safety harnesses, and from there, they trust their fellow students. Not only do these harnesses keep them safe, but they rely on each other to help make it through the course. These events build bonds and security within themselves. The challenge course is a series of physical obstacles designed to raise self-esteem.
Now put your right leg. Oh my God! You're okay. Don't. I need to get down.
Improve communication.
My legs aren't long enough. Okay, I'll try to help you.
And problem-solving skills.
We're here to help each other and trust each other, and we learn to trust. And if you don't trust, then you're never gonna learn to make it out there if you don't.
The skills these girls learn will hopefully stay with them.
Well, I know sometimes I get scared to like trust people or whatever, and it'll show you that you can really trust people pretty much with your life and everything.
In Duluth, Kim Steininger, Channel 6 News.
Are getting ready for a party. You might call it a rebirthday party. A celebration of life for Anissa, who after 5 years remains cancer-free. And a celebration for a tiny sibling who made it all possible.
She took my blood and put it inside her, and then she was okay.
It was a story told around the world. Anissa was diagnosed with leukemia and needed a bone marrow transplant in order to live. But she could not find a compatible donor. That's when her parents, Mary and Abe Ayala, decided late in life to have another baby. In the 1 in 4 chance that the new child's bone marrow would match her older sister's. It did.
All the miracles that happened, how we all pulled together, how my sister was sent to us, and just that I'm living today, I think that's the most amazing part. My sister is everything to me. I can't even imagine being without her.
Conan Nolan reporting for NBC News. 24-year-old Anissa Esposito.
I'm very pleased that the judge did come back with this verdict. It was 100% for our side. It has been a long time coming.
A Duluth court has awarded Gail Yetton damages in a lawsuit filed against the Duluth Bethel Society and some key employees for sexual harassment, discrimination, and human rights violations. Yetton worked as a chemical dependency counselor at the facility and had to put up with harassment by her male supervisors.
They had closed-door meetings I was not allowed to be in. I was called names. I was told to get the F out of offices. I was assaulted, physically assaulted.
Yetton's attorney says he's pleased with the verdict and says sometimes businesses don't play by the rules.
There are circumstances where employers do not follow the law, and this is the course of action that those employees who are victims of harassment and discrimination have to take when those circumstances occur.
An I-Team 6 investigation of the Bethel Society first reported problems of sexual harassment and human rights abuses 2 years ago. The report detailed management problems within several of Bethel's treatment programs, resulting in a state and federal investigation. The programs were later cited for numerous violations in order to make changes. A former Bethel employee explains one of the incidents.
Mr. Cleaver looked over at me and he said, "Are you having fun?" I said, "Yeah, that's great." He said, "Well, whenever you're not, let me know. We can go up to the room and watch dirty movies."
I think they thought they had me, that I would just go away, and I couldn't go away. You know, this would have continued with me for the rest of my life. And now I feel like, you know, part of it, at any rate, is behind me, and I won.
Yetton's attorney says the entire case has still not been decided. Possible violations of the whistleblower statute and other complaints may eventually end up before a jury. In Duluth, Tamika Snowden, Channel 6 News. Yetton's attorney says the entire case has still not been decided. Possible violations of the whistleblower statute and other complaints may eventually end up before a jury. In Duluth, Tamika Snowden, Channel 6 News.
Well, it all started with one of my tenants who lives on the main floor. He also works for me, and he lives at 725 East 5th Street. And he mentioned to me, he said that he hadn't seen the occupants that lived upstairs for a couple of weeks. So I said, well, that sounds kind of suspicious. I haven't seen them either. So then I instructed my other workman who lives downstairs. I said, you better take the keys and go up and knock on the door, and if you don't get any response, well, enter in and see if you can see anything unusual. So he did that, and it was a Saturday evening, and I don't know exactly what time, but he went to the apartment, and nobody responded, so he entered, and he looked in, and this is what he told, he related to me now, that he looked, when he entered into the bedroom. The apartment went right into the bedroom. The apartment door entered into the bedroom, and he saw what he looked like a figure in the bed, so he pulled back the cover and he saw the body.
Despite all of the anticipation, Theodore Kaczynski's arraignment here in federal court in Sacramento lasted little more than 3 minutes. Kaczynski didn't say a word, but through his lawyer, he pleaded not guilty to a 10-count federal indictment, charges that could get him the death penalty.
Kaczynski made the short trip from the county jail to the federal courthouse under tight security, shielded from view in an armored car. He arrived 3 hours early. He was seen only briefly from the view of a news helicopter.
Later, Kaczynski appeared in a wrinkled shirt and pants with a bandage on his right cheek before Magistrate Judge Peter Nowinski. Through his lawyer, Kaczynski entered a not guilty plea to 10 charges, including transporting and mailing explosives, murder, and attempted murder.
Kaczynski was moved to Sacramento from Montana to face trial. The charges stem from 4 separate bombing attacks in Northern California. 2 were fatal, including the mail bomb that killed timber lobbyist Gilbert Murray here last year. The alleged Unabomber's attack also killed a Sacramento computer store owner and maimed 2 university professors. Since 1978, the Unabomber's terror campaign has killed 3 people and injured 23.
I am pleased that he is here in Sacramento. I think he should be tried here. There are all kinds of factual connections between the killings and the victims being here in Sacramento.
His chief lawyer said the trial will be a long time in coming.
I've heard the estimate 12 or 18 months to trial, and that doesn't sound unreasonable to me, may even be a little on the short side.
For now, the alleged Unabomber will stay in Sacramento in an 8 by 10-foot isolation cell at the county jail, awaiting what will be a closely watched trial.
Kaczynski will be in court again in mid-July. He will appear at that point before the trial judge. Reporting live from Sacramento, I'm David Gregory. Now back to you.
The only balanced meal some kids get is at school. Now that school's out, parents are trying to find other options to give their kids that nutritional meal. The school administration has set up a program to help out.
Well, the summer program is an extension of the National School Lunch Program, and we started it up on June 10th. We're feeding about 1,300 kids a day. We're operating in 14 different sites.
The program has been around for 20 years and serves over 68,000 meals to Duluth kids each summer. The Damiano Center, the Salvation Army, and the Union Gospel Mission all say their centers are filled with children during the summer months, too. For some kids, this is the only nutritional meal they will get in a day. And the mission is just one organization that helps families out. It feeds over 5,000 kids through the summer.
You got to keep that good health and that good nutrition up year-round. And as schools are closed, we become the vehicle for an awful lot of that for the families, and particularly the children.
Mom, I'm going to get some salad.
Even though programs are available, some kids still go hungry and won't get the balanced meals they need. Keeney says parents are sometimes too embarrassed to let people know they need a little extra help.
So it's important to us that the children are well fed, and that makes a difference in the whole family structure. And that makes a difference in their future.
In Duluth, Kim Steininger, Channel 6 News.
Half the price of a $200 football helmet is due to lawsuit tax. Cost me our executive director. Lawsuit abuse in Minnesota is out of control, and it's destroying our legal system. There are too many lawsuits today. Many are frivolous or junk lawsuits, which take time and money to defend.
Suppose you give a friend a haircut at your house and your friend doesn't like the results. Do you know she can sue you?
Business has been just great. In fact, it's kind of exceeded our expectations. Yes, we were really pretty swamped.
Take some pictures for him and me both.
I believe that it deprives an accused of his right to confrontation. A person cannot ask questions of a videotape. The essence of our criminal justice system is that a person who's accused of a crime, particularly serious crimes, is entitled through the assistance of an attorney to question, to challenge.